take off my video. Okay, admitting everyone.
Great. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's session. We had a great turnout as far as registrations go, and we'll be keeping an eye on the waiting room to admit folks along the way. It's good to have you here for a very timely topic, and we look forward to sharing the next hour with you. My name is Scott Henley, and I'm the Executive Director of Digitunity. And today we're joined by Jeff Rose and Ellen Forbes of OATS, Older Adults Technology Services, part of AARP, who will be leading the bulk of today's session. We just have a couple of just really quick intro slides. If you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat, certainly do. Your name and what org you're from and where you are. I'm coming to you from Madison, New Hampshire, where my home base, a couple of hours north of Boston. And so welcome all of you from all over the place. So we'll go ahead and Nirvan, if you can move to the next slide for us. Just a very quick overview of Digitunity before we hand it over to today's session leaders. Digitunity, we were founded in 1984 as National Christina Foundation. We've been in this work for 40 years, hard to imagine. We are a nonprofit public charity working at the systems level to support local device ecosystems and achieve our mission of making owning a computer possible for everyone. Our core work over all these years has been to match technology donors with recipient organizations like yourselves to support people in need in communities around the country. And we're proud to support a national practitioner network. Nirvan, if you want to move to the next slide, with organizations all over the country, from schools and public agencies to nonprofits serving a wide range of populations across the country, including nonprofit technology refurbishers as key players in all of this work. Next slide, Nirvan. And just a reminder, if you don't already know us well, Digitunity, we are not practitioners ourselves. We support all of you that are in communities doing the good work around the country. We don't handle computers ourselves. We help at the systems level to move the work forward, opening up supply, supporting preparation and computer deployment in communities. And like I said, we're not an individual practitioner. We're not a service delivery organization. We look at ourselves as the connective tissue in this field, working to move all of you and all of the work forward. And so with that brief intro, I am happy to introduce our presenters today. Many organizations across our network serve a wide range of people, and older adults they are a core aspect of this work of advancing digital equity. And so very happy to have Jeff Rose and Ellen Forbes here today. Jeff is going to be leading off. And so Jeff, I'll turn it over to you. And by the way, we will be monitoring the chat. If anyone has any questions or thoughts, please do pose them in the chat. Jeff?
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. And either, well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in today from. Happy to have you all here, and thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to us and a little bit about what we do. I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Jeff Rose, and I am Director of our Special Initiatives here at OATS, or Older Adults Technology Services, from AARP. We provide digital skills training and digital literacy for older adults, and I'll dive in a little bit more here in a sec on what we do. I've been working with older adults my entire career. I've been with OATS for a little over a year, and I'm based in Chicago. And I'm going to turn things over to Ellen to introduce herself, and we can go to the next slide while she does that.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and thank you to Scott and Navan as well for inviting us here to speak today. It's a real pleasure to meet everyone. I'm a program specialist at Older Adults Technology Services, or OATS. I've been with OATS for about 2 years now. I have a background in public health and government, and am based here in New York City and work on all things digital equity, including the Digital Equity Act, and also have been working on the Affordable Connectivity Program, or ACP.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellen. So a quick overview of our presentation here for you all. We're going to give a little overview of who we are, and I know there's some questions about who we are and what we do. We're going to talk a little bit about the capacity, opportunity, and how you might be able to partner with us, and a little bit of next steps from there. So our presentation isn't terribly long. We've left plenty of room at the end of today's talk for questions and answers. So feel free to either pop them in the chat and we'll address them at the end, or if something comes up along the way and we're able to answer that in the presentation, we'll do that too. So we can hop over to the next slide for a little overview of OATS. So OATS, or Older Adult Technology Services from AARP, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and while we carry that lovely AARP affiliate tagline, that affiliation means we get funding from a variety of sources. So the work that we do, everything that we do, first off, is completely free of charge to organizations that work with us and older adults that learn from us. And we're able to do all that free of charge through the generous support of private foundations, government institutions, and AARP. And AARP is one of our biggest supporters. So we carry the brand tagline from AARP. A lot of you might be familiar with our customer-facing brand, our Senior Planet brand. And that's where we meet older adults in the community. So we have our Senior Planet Exploration Centers. We have our website, seniorplanet.org, which I'll get to when I talk about our variety of program channels. And a little bit about us. So while we as an organization provide digital literacy and digital skills training for older adults, we're really based on our social impact model. And that is where we seek outcomes in 5 particular areas. And those are financial security, creative expression, social connectedness, health and wellness, and civic participation. So while we provide those digital skills training, we're hoping for outcomes related to those particular social impact areas as a way to improve lives of older adults. And I'll share just in a few slides here a few facts on how we're able to do that and a little bit on how we measure it. So on to the next slide, I'll share a little bit about our in-person experiences. So we have Senior Planet Centers, which are technology-themed senior centers. They're located in New York City, a very upstate New York place called Plattsburgh, just south of the Canadian border, if you're familiar. We have a center recently opened in Miami, Florida, for those Floridians here with us. And then we also have a center in Denver, Colorado. In addition to those centers, we also operate in-person experiences collaboratively with governments in Montgomery County, Maryland, in San Antonio, Texas, and in Santa Clara County, California. So that's a little bit about our in-person experiences. I'm going to have you hop over to the next slide. I'll talk about our virtual experiences. So we have our website, seniorplanet.org, where we offer free virtual classes for older adults. And those happen Monday through Saturday. And they're on a variety of different topics. But as you can see, the topics that we've listed here, all of the topics of all the classes and courses that we offer address those different social impact areas that we have as an organization. So in addition to those classes, we have virtual discussion groups on our Senior Planet community. We have articles for folks to read, tech tip videos for people to watch. And one of my favorite features is we offer a free one-on-one tech support and coaching national hotline. The number's listed there on the screen. And our hotline's open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's a great resource. All of these are great resources, of course, but this is a wonderful resource that's free and open to folks to call and get help with their technology. But we also do other things. We help in the wake of the winding down of ACP, as an example. We were able to help identify resources to send them to where older adults could find low-cost internet services and or kind of educate them about what the ACP program was when it existed. So on to the next slide. One of the things we also pride ourselves on is not only do we offer a variety of programs in English, but we have programs always in development in a variety of other languages. So you can see here the number of non-English programs that we offer. That's 256, broken down kind of in high to low amounts of classes. So we have a very robust set of classes available in Spanish, Chinese, Russian, Vietnamese, and Haitian Creole. The reason we added Haitian Creole is we have our brand new center in Miami, which is predominantly Haitian Creole population in the area in which we open that center. So we have a variety of also course types. So you can see up there on the right-hand side, we have 10-week courses, 5-week courses. And those are really our basic foundational skills classes where people learn how to use devices and kind of longer form things. And then we have our lectures and workshops, which are shorter series, can often, or single classes, which are often on a very specific topic. So off to our next slide here, we're going to talk a little bit about our licensing program. And this is probably one of the most important things for the folks here on the call to learn about. And this is our capacity building program where we work with local organizations, nonprofits like many of yourselves, libraries, area agencies on aging, university extensions, community centers, YMCAs, Meals on Wheels, Goodwill locations, everywhere in between. All those kinds of organizations work with us as partners. And what we do, and this is a free program as well, we license our curriculum to those organizations, and we have a robust train-the-trainer model where we train either volunteers or staff at those particular organizations to deliver curriculum on the ground in those communities in which those organizations are serving. So we're currently now in over 35 states with over 450 licensed partners in those states. And we're looking to continue to grow this program, and it's the best way for organizations like yourselves to engage with us. So we'll talk a little bit more at the end of the presentation about how you can do that. But it's one of our shining things we'd like to share. And if your state's not highlighted red here, we'd love to talk to you about how we could bring this program to your state, because we have a goal. We'd love to be in all 50 states, and Scott, New Hampshire there is not. So I'm going to hit you up for some recommendations of some organizations that could join us. But
I noted that myself, so thank you.
Good. Off to our next slide. Talk a little bit. I talked a little bit about our social impact model, and again, really our goal as an organization is not necessarily to get folks that digital skills training and the digital literacy, but really to have impact on those particular outcomes in those social impact areas. So this is some attitudinal data that we got back from our surveys, and data collection is really important to us as an organization. Not only do we need it to show our funders how we're doing the work that we're setting out to do, but it's also, as an organization, what we believe showing the results based on the work that we've done and the impact that we've had. So you can see that the data here speaks for itself as far as how we work through social connectedness and getting people the resources that they need, whether that's in health and wellness or in financial security. It's also important, especially in today's world, as more things are moving online and are such an integral part of our daily lives. So off to the next slide. And as we talk about digital equity and my role and Ellen's role, we deal with digital equity on a daily basis. And I like to say, as OATS as an organization, we've been around for 20 years doing digital equity work. And we're so happy to see that digital equity has gained steam in the world, especially here in the United States. And Ellen will talk more about the Digital Equity Act and the capacity grants. But we've kind of set out these guiding elements for digital equity that we believe as an organization and that we try to do in our work. And this is a perfect forum to share these because it kind of summarizes how we think as an organization. So the first thing we believe is harnessing capacity. So when we talk about capacity, I refer us always back to our licensing program because we know we can't open up a senior planet center in every city across the country or work with local governments across the country. So we built our licensing program as a way to harness capacity of organizations on the ground all over the country. A lot of our partners in this particular case are actually in rural communities. So it's a great resource not to reinvent the wheel. So we have a full-time team of curriculum specialists here who are developing and maintaining and doing all the wonderful things for our curriculum, including translating it into those other languages that you saw. So harnessing capacity is very important to us. Activating local partners, as again, you all know here, this Zoom session here, local partners are super important. Scott is overseeing the national organization that's helping activate each one of you in your communities to help make partners and to be partners to do the work that you do. We know we can't do everything by ourselves, and there is definitely power in numbers. So activating local partners is very important to us. And then engaging in cultural competencies. I refer back again to our multitude of languages that we have our curriculum in. And it's not just about the languages that our curriculum is taught, but also the kinds of classes that are taught. So we know for our licensing partners, as an example, they choose the curriculum that they teach in their communities because there might be things that their communities find more important than someone else's. For example, if you have a class on Lyft and Uber and you're in a rural upstate New York where Lyft and Uber aren't there, it doesn't really make sense to teach a class on that. Of course, you can because people do travel and get to other places, but something that might be more relevant to that could be financial security, as an example, where that might be a more important topic for those communities to teach. So we leave it up to each of our partners to be able to teach in the language that they need to teach in and the kinds of classes they'd like to offer in their communities. I talked a little bit about our investment in data. Again, very important to us as an organization to be able to show those outcomes related to our social impact areas, and of course, to be able to share with our funders about the good work that we're doing. And then finally, sustainability is really, really important to us. And again, with this upcoming Digital Equity Act that Ellen will talk about, sustainability is a key piece of that. And a little bit about the history of our organization. We kind of got our first growth spurt as an organization from a program called BTOP, which is the predecessor to the Digital Equity Act, which we're all in the thrust of today. But that was a program that helped us build our first Senior Planet Center in Manhattan, in New York City, that is still in existence today. And a great example of how we were able to sustain that funding from that original federal grant all the way through getting it part of the New York City budget to be here as it exists today. So all of these are guiding elements for digital equity, very important for us in what we do in our work. So I'm going to stop talking here, and I'm going to send things over to my colleague Ellen to take things from here.
Thank you very much, Jeff. And yes, this is the reason why we wanted to bring everyone together today, because there is a very large grant opportunity, well, multiple grant opportunities, which I'll talk about in a moment, but a very big grant opportunity in which we could potentially partner together to help support each of the states that are implementing a lot of work at the moment. So I just want to see a show of hands or in the chat if you've heard about the Digital Equity Act, or if you're even working to support some of the activities that are happening or have happened over the past year with the Digital Equity Act. You can see Molly, Brenda. Caitlin, a few folks. Well, that's fantastic. And Alex as well. That's fantastic. So it's great to hear that some people are aware of what's happening on a broader national level, but I'll share a bit more for the folks that don't. So, and thank you, Cindy. Yeah, on a broader scale, it dates back to 2021. With the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. You may also know it as the bipartisan infrastructure law. It made trillions of dollars available, specifically about $60 billion available for broadband. And some of that funding was allocated to the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, or the NTIA, to deliver programs over the next 5 years that support digital equity. So as part of that is not only the Digital Equity Act, but the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment, or BEAD program, a very large program, nearly $43 billion, dedicated to each state to develop a plan to put the infrastructure in the ground so that folks, especially in rural areas, or what they're calling underserved or unserved locations, for those folks to receive internet access either to their household, to their business, or to provide internet access at a local organization where they can get Wi-Fi. But we won't be talking about that today. We'll be talking specifically about the Digital Equity Act. So the Digital Equity Act has 3 different programs underneath it. It's worth $2.75 billion. And the main goal of the Digital Equity Act is to provide digital equity or conduct digital equity inclusion activities. So things like giving internet access or increasing internet access to covered populations. So populations that they've noted are experiencing the highest rate of barriers to enjoying technology and the internet. Things like Scott and Navan do, providing access to devices, providing digital skills training, providing tech support, and also ensuring that these covered populations can do that in a private and secure manner as well, that they feel safe to get online. So those 3 grant programs that I was talking about, 2 are being administered by dedicated state broadband officers. So the folks that raise their hands may have been involved in designing or advising on an implementation plan. That state planning grant that you can see there on the left-hand side, that was money dedicated to each designated state broadband office to develop a plan for covered populations. So folks who we work with, older adults, folks living in rural locations, people of racial and ethnic minority backgrounds, people that have levels of low literacy, people that live in covered households, so low income households, people that would have been eligible for the ACP program, people with disabilities as well. So they have now implemented, they have now designed their plan. All states and territories have now had their plans approved, and states are about to receive their share of $1.44 billion to implement that plan over the next 5 years. And the reason why we bring you together today is because there may be an opportunity in each of the states or territories to help implement their plan. So there may be some competitive sub-grants available in each state or territory to help implement their plan. Before I turn to the next slide to talk more about that, I just want to also raise that there is a competitive grant available at the moment. It was released about 2 weeks ago from the NTIA. It's a national grant, and it is worth $1.25 billion. So I encourage you to look out for that, but it's not what we will be speaking about today. All right, so back to the capacity grant. So states will be implementing their plans over the next 5 years. They may be looking to community organizations, or what they're calling community anchor organizations, organizations that work with those populations that I had just mentioned. They may be providing sub-grant opportunities. We don't know about the size, so in terms of the funding, how much funding is available to organizations, but we know we're starting to get some idea from state broadband officers about whether they will be hosting competitive grant programs. But we know from the legislation that it is possible for state broadband officers to make sub-grants with the funding that they received this year. Next slide. So to be very specific, there will be we anticipate 3 tranches of funding. So within the next year, specifically states will receive their share of $800 million, and then they will receive the additional 40% over 2025 and 2026. So there may be not only a sub-grant opportunity in the next year, there may be sub-grant opportunities in 2025 and 2026. So if we, and we'll share a link towards the end on how we can partner together, or how we can start to have conversations about how we can partner together. Please note that this isn't a one-stop funding opportunity. This is potential multiple year funding opportunities. Next slide, please. All right, so we're talking about that 800 million that is available, will become available to states over the next 9 months. So we are anticipating that between Q4 and Q1 of next year, that is when those sub-grant opportunities will become available from the states. You can see that here. And then we're thinking that states will be implementing activities based on those sub-grant opportunities towards Q2. Next slide, please. All right, so if you're interested and curious about this, I would recommend, as your first port of call, going to the NTIA's Internet for All portal. If you're wanting to get in contact with the broadband office to learn more about their plan, or to reach out to them to see what they have done with their plan and how you can contribute. They have a wonderful map available. You can see all of the different plans that they're creating, not only for the Digital Equity Act, but for BEAD as well. And it has the contact information there too. So this slide deck is being shared, I understand, post-call, and that link will be available in this slide deck. And before we turn to questions and answers, I'll get you to advance 2 slides, please. And one more, thank you, Nova. These are 2 ways in which you can start a conversation with us. First of all, our licensing program that Jeff spoke about earlier. If you scan the QR code on the left-hand side, that will lead you to the licensing page, in which we host information sessions on a monthly basis to learn more, and also just have some background information if you're interested in learning more about that and learning more about the train the trainer process. And then on the right-hand side is a partner intake form. We are currently looking for partners in multiple states to partner with us on those potential sub-grant opportunities in states. So if you're interested in having a conversation, Jeff's just dropped the link in the chat as well to that form. Please submit that form and we can reach out to you and start a discussion. But I will turn it back to the last slide and see if there's any questions that you have, any clarifications that you need, and also if you'd like to discuss anything that we've mentioned today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen and Jeff. I've been taking a look at the chat, and there haven't been any questions posed quite yet. I have one. It is the main takeaway for everyone that's on this call that there's an opportunity for them, if they serve older adults, to connect with you and potentially either pursuing the licensing agreement or as a partner on state projects, that there's an opportunity here.
Yeah, great question, Scott. So that is the best takeaway from this. So firstly, today as it exists, our licensing program is up and running, and we are always intaking new organizations to join us. So if your organization has the interest or capacity to do so today, feel free to head to that page and sign up for one of those information sessions to learn a little bit more about what it takes to be a part of the licensing program. I'll also ask if you work with other organizations that serve older adults. So, by adjacency, or, you partner with them on some form or fashion. Feel free to spread the word about what we do and encourage them to participate in that as well. So that's kind of the first bucket there. And it's our hope too, as we build out our partner network of organizations who are delivering our curriculum on the ground, as we move to the next bucket, which is the state funding, that we're able to kind of group folks together who are already working with us to build and or expand the programs that are already on the ground to do more great work in all of those states across the country in which we already have partners operating. So we're kind of looking to harness the power of that licensing partner network to do and expand more work in all of those states where those digital equity capacity subgrants will be made available. And since one of the questions we always get asked is, when are those grants going to be available in the particular states? And Scott, as you know, those grants will be coming out later this year into early next year, depending on what state you're in. So the work that we're doing now is kind of putting this out there in hopes that we can have these conversations now. So when it does come time to apply for grants and we have 60 days to sort things out, we've already had some of these conversations to sort out those folks who might be interested in working with us. So hopefully that answers your question, Scott.
Yeah, thank you for that. And one of the things that we're suggesting to all of our Digitunity's network members is, if you don't already have a relationship with your state's broadband office, that really now is the time to make sure that you're established, that you're a known entity with the state broadband office, and also to make sure that you sign up for when announcements are made on competitive state capacity subgrant opportunities, so that you're just aware. And I love the idea of, through the power of OATS and AARP, potentially for some organizing within states to pursue some of those opportunities. This is as we always say, this is a watershed moment for all the work that we all do, and we need to make sure that we take full advantage of these next 5 years to really make an impact as best we can. Molly posted in the chat that this is also a great time to set the groundwork for establishing digital equity coalitions. And that's a beautiful idea. And there's power in organizing, that's for sure. Jeff, Ellen, anything to add on that?
Yeah, no, and that's again part of the reason that we're here. If there's also, I know someone posted in the chat here about the Maryland Digital Equity Coalition, so I can draw attention to that. But I think I shared before when I was talking about the work that we're doing, it's really important to know that we can't do this alone, nor should we try to do this alone. So, there's power in numbers, and everyone brings something different to the table. So the opportunity to kind of work together is a great opportunity. And I'm Molly. Now I see that you're the same person who posted the Maryland Digital Equity Coalition. So sorry for that, but yeah, bringing attention. So depending on what state you're in, I know in a lot of the states that we work, we're also part of Digital Equity Coalition. So encourage you, just like Scott said, to join them, to seek them out. Also, there's some hyper-local ones. So there's city-run ones or county-wide ones, depending on where you're at. So I mentioned I'm in Chicago, so there's a great convening the city of Chicago has, as an example, that Cook County has here where Chicago is. So absolutely seek out those coalitions to know that there's power in numbers. So, yeah.
And I would also note, Molly, thank you for raising that. We do have 5 regional program managers that do participate in those coalitions. So as OATS, we don't do advocacy. We leave that for the AARP state offices as an affiliate, but we will be supporting implementation all the way. So Noah O'Ryan is our regional program manager that does attend those coalitions. So if you're interested in collaborating, or if you know of anyone that's interested in collaborating in Maryland, specifically Prince George's County or Baltimore, please put him in touch with that respective person. But yes, he will be there, and please look out for our regional program managers if you have questions or have ideas for collaboration or need support.
Thank you, Ellen. And there's another question here. Would OATS be a recommended letter of support on these grants to demonstrate our partnership?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't exactly know what all of the notice of funding opportunities will look like, but it will likely include what at least the federal grant has called a letter of commitment to show how organizations plan to work together, also sometimes known as a memorandum of understanding. So all to say fancy words, just an agreement that will work together and what each organization would bring to the table.
Mhm.
So
Good.
great questions here from Molly. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Any further comments or questions from attendees? You can either raise your hand or drop it in chat. Oh, great. Azora writes, Life Limb supports older adults in health and wellness. Oh, and I was just joining late. So, hey, thank you for joining. And thanks for saying hello. And one other just bit of commentary from me on the notion of organizing. We find our relationship with the National Digital Inclusion Alliance to be just immensely important. I know that OATS is also plugged right into NDIA's work. If any of you have not joined NDIA, they are the tip of the spear for this work, and they're such a tremendous resource. Their annual conference is called Net Inclusion. It's taking place in May in Arizona this year. If you have the opportunity to attend, I wholeheartedly encourage you to do so, so that you're deeply plugged into this work happening all across the country. And Jeff, would you agree on that?
Yes, I just actually we popped a lot of links here in the chat for the NDA, but yes, we're an affiliate. We have the Affiliate Plus membership with the NDIA. They do, for organizations that don't have the resources, have free memberships. They want to encourage folks to get together to open those lines of discussion. What I think is very helpful, they have a wonderful listserv that can be overwhelming at times, but shares great information about the work that's going on, and great resources if you have questions to throw things out there, and there's always someone willing to chime in and give some responses. So please take advantage of that organization. Again, we're proud supporters, and definitely agree. Great resources for folks in this world to take advantage of.
And I'll also say, Jeff, the fact that OATS has a free helpline. When I first learned that from on a call with you a couple of months ago, that blew my mind. And it's what an amazing resource for any of you that have older adults as your clients or the folks that you serve. What a tremendous thing to be able to point them to. Manned by human beings, Monday through Friday, regular business hours. That's really tremendous. Could you maybe share that phone number in the chat one more time, Jeff, so people have it handy?
Yeah, I'll have Ellen pop that in there, and I'll just speak to that hotline really quick because, a lot of you here might deal with devices, and well, folks can get support from a technical aspect if something's physically gone wrong with the device or the operating system. A lot of where we might play a role is in the adoption pieces, helping some of the fear as it relates to things like cybersecurity or privacy. And any one of our social impact areas. So getting folks support on how to use things to better, expand their world and to grow. So that's really what it's there for. I'll call it our wraparound services as folks come to classes and get devices and increase the adoption piece. Really having someone who can call a trusted resource to be able to do that. And I should also mention that hotline does operate in both English and in Spanish. And we do have, with some notice and scheduling, I believe we can get some Mandarin as well on the hotline for folks calling in. So again, a great resource for many of the folks that you all serve in your communities.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's see. Any further questions? This has been a good discussion. We appreciate the interest and the feedback. And seeing no further questions in the chat, I suppose we should wrap up. And I'll just say, Jeff and Ellen, it's been such a pleasure working with you and introducing OATS to our folks on the call, to our practitioner network. There's some great resources right there on the screen with your contact information. So we certainly encourage folks to reach out to learn more about ways to collaborate with OATS and AARP. And so with that, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Ellen. And thanks to all of you for participating today. Best of luck on the road ahead.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.